Hello all the students. Today we are going to start the practical for the network design lab. So just go to login into your Moodle account, everyone, and then go to practical number 8. Today we are going to discuss about to design and the configure of VLAN on the switch. Okay, VLAN is nothing but your virtual LAN. Okay, virtual local area network. So if you see the prerequisite for this particular experiment, knowledge of basic concepts of networking, you must be having a knowledge about the what do you mean by LAN, WAN, MAN, what is virtual LAN, right? Then IP address classes, class A, class B, class C, class D, class E. Okay, what are the different range of these IP these classes? Then exposure of Cisco packet tracer tool and how to configure a switch from the CLI, that is command line interface. And when we are talking about the problem statement, that student must understand why VLAN is needed. Okay, what is the purpose of VLAN we are using, then what are the advantages of VLAN, then how to configure the switch for our VLAN, right? And should be able to configure VLAN as per the network requirements. Okay, and student also needs to discuss or study what do you mean by the trunking of a port and its requirement in the configuration of virtual LAN. Okay, so all these things we need to cover in this particular experiment. And if you see the topology, that configuration of VLAN on this particular switches, that we need to first configure on our Cisco packet tracer, right? So first of all we will see what do you mean by the VLAN, right? So just go to your lab manual of experiment number 8, which is all about talking about the VLAN, right? Okay, and just refer it all the steps which already explained in this particular lab manual. Okay, and we will now start our experiment of virtual LAN. Okay, so first we will discuss what we mean by the VLAN. Okay, so VLAN is nothing but a large physical local area network into a multiple small virtual LANs, right? And why this it will be required? It will be required for the better management and the greater security of your particular network, right? Then how to do that? Okay, it is a very easy to add, move or change the network with just a configuring of different ports of a different VLANs with appropriate VLANs, right? Also, VLAN allows you to create a logical group of users by its functions. It enhances the security of your network, right? And in this VLAN we just need to identify a one term, that is nothing but a VLAN ID. Okay, that is nothing but the identification number of your particular VLAN. For example, in one network you maybe add a 2 to 3 VLANs, right? And for identification of VLAN, the VLAN ID will be used, right? And the ID numbers can be a vary from 1 to 1005. Okay, it is a range of the various VLAN numbers IDs. So 1 to 1005, you can randomly use any number to identify as identification of your VLAN, right? Now there are a types of the VLAN also available. There are a two type, like first one is the static VLAN and second one is of course dynamic virtual LAN, right? The static virtual LAN, in this the administrator needs to configure and update the virtual LAN database manually every time, right? and this method is preferred to the any a small type of the network, right? If the network is large, then you must be go to your dynamic virtual LAN. But if the small is your network, then you must use a static VLAN, right? And in this, what happened? You need to configure and update VLAN database manually for each and every time, right? But it not happen in the dynamic VLAN because it is using a VTP, that is virtual LAN trunking protocol, which will be automatically take care of these things in dynamic virtual LAN, right? And which is useful for your a large network, right? So just we will go to our Cisco packet tracer and we just draw first this topology there, right? Sorry. So in this virtual LAN, so I just import first the systems. To just go to this end devices, go to the PCs and just drag and drop here. I imported 4 PCs. Now I just choose a switch as well. I just go to switch. For example, there are 2 switches in our topology, so I just drag and drop the 2 switches over here. Then of course the cabling part, right? The cabling part I will use here the fast Ethernet cable to switch port of first, then again fast Ethernet cable to your switch port of second. Likewise, same structure you need to configure for the switch 2 as well. Fast Ethernet to switch 1, then fast Ethernet to switch 2, right? And now here you need to use copper crossover cable for switch to switch, for switch to switch, right? For switch to switch. Now we need to do first the labeling, right? So how to do that labeling? I just go to place note here, the first PC. The first PC is belongs to the sales department and its IP is, for example, 10.0.0.1. I am assigning it, right? This is belongs to this particular PC. Then again the next PC1 I need to use as account department, for example, and the IP of that is 10.0.0.2, for example. The same thing we need to apply to another switch network. Here again the sales department and the IP is 10.0.0.3, and again the last one accounts department 10.0.0.4. That's it. Okay, now I just configure these PCs as well. Just go to click on the PCs. Okay, its configuration table, go to desktop and the IP configuration. Here you need to provide the IP address of that particular system. So here I am just giving this IP, so I just need to provide it here 10.0.0.1. It will be automatically take your subnet mask, right? That's, and apply the same thing to each and every PC, just the IP address is the different one. 10.0.0.2 IP address is okay. Here it will be a 3, and here it will be a 4. 10.0.0.4. Right, now here I have just configured my configuration, my number of PCs, right? Now I just need to send a packet from any one of the system to any other of the system, right? Now for that, for sending the packet, we just click on this scenario, real-time scenario based, I'm just sending the packet from PC0 to PC1, and if you see here, it will be a successful. Why? Because the switch is now a broadcasting message to from PC0 to all the systems, right? And here the packet is sending to the PC2, for example, PC0 to PC2. The packet type is your ICMP protocol. It will be used for sending a packet, and it will be a successful one. Same thing, for example, PC2 to PC1 I am sending, it will be also a successful. Why? Because here the switch is broadcasting my packets to each and every end devices, right? But now we need to apply a virtual LAN here, because for example, here I need to send a packet from only within a department. For example, sales department is able to send a packet to only a sales department, right? And account department is sending a packet to only my account department, right? The sales department will not be hampered by sending a packet from the account, right? For example, I need to secure my sales department from my account department, or vice versa, right? And for that we are creating here the VLAN configuration, and for that we need to configure first to our first switch, right? So just click on the switch first, go to CLI, right? Just click on, just enter, now type there config space t, sorry, okay. Now go to your first switch, click on the switch and go to CLI command, then just type the EN for enabling that particular switch, and after enabling the particular switch it will be prompted as a switch hash, and then you need to provide here command the config space t for the configuration terminal of this particular switch, right? When you click on, when you enter this command, it will be shows you as switch into bracket config and then hash. That means you are in your switch configuration terminal, right? Now here you need to type a commands, right? So for first switch we are creating here the VLAN and their identification number. For example, I am giving here the 10 as identification number for VLAN first on switch first, right? So VLAN space 10. Now you are in the config VLAN, right? Here I am providing my name to my particular VLAN also. So here I am creating on this particular network. So this particular network belongs to my sales department, for example. So here I am giving the name of my VLAN, that is sales, right? And just I am exit from my switch 1, okay, and again I will be there in your switch config tab, right? Same process we need to do on the switch 2 as well. So just go to switch 2, go to CLI, just press enter, just enable the switch, and again go to my configuration terminal of my switch, and then again give the identification number to our VLAN, and as well as give the name of my VLAN as the namespace account, right? And just exit from these things. Okay, then after this command I am again switching to my switch first terminal, that is CLI, and here I am just configuring my first Ethernet port, that is FA0/1. that means this PC, this sales department, this PC I need to first configure, and for that purpose switch 1 config. In that particular thing we need to type the command, that is interface whichever interface you need to configure, you need to type that name, interface FA0/1 for example for me. Then now you are shifted to the config if, right? And here you need to type the command switch port mode space access, right? Now this command tells you about here the switch port, whatever the port is having that particular switch, the mode can be changed to my access mode. Okay, and after that you need to give here the VLAN ID whichever you want to access from that particular Ethernet port. So here I am giving switch port space access space VLAN and 10, because that we will configure first. Here itself I am giving the VLAN 10 to my this particular switch. So VLAN 10 I am accessing on this particular interface, that is FA0/1, right? And then I just press enter and exit from this. And at the same time again we need to configure for our this FA0/2 as well, because this particular switch is having two Ethernet connections, actually three Ethernet connection, but we are talking about these two end devices. We have configured this particular sales department. Now we need to configure this account department for FA0/2. So tell me the command, which is command is interface FA0/2, right? And again here also we need to turn switch port mode as a access, right? Switch port mode access, and just changes what, that identification number you need to change as a VLAN 20, right? Because this is your accounts department and here we need to configure it as a VLAN 20. Okay, now it will be shows you access VLAN does not exist, creating VLAN 20. Why? Because this error is occurs. I am purposefully type this command. Why? Because this command is useful when you actually configured your VLAN identification number, right? Here we are not creating for the VLAN 20, we are creating for the VLAN 10 only. We are created only for VLAN 10 only, right? But we are not created for VLAN 20. So that's why it is showing you the access VLAN does not exist, creating VLAN 20. So for this purpose what you need to do, you need to configure for VLAN 20 as well, right? So again just press exit, and here we need to again for VLAN 20 you need to do or configuration of VLAN, and then you need to again give here the name of the VLAN, that is here accounts is for FS0/2, so namespace account, and then again exit from this particular VLAN, right? And now you need to again do the same, that means interface 0/2, then mode access, then VLAN 20. Now it will be successfully created the VLAN access to my VLAN 20, right? Now here you need to verify whether your VLAN configuration is successfully or not. For that you need to you need to type here. First we will exit from this particular config tab, right? And here we need to type here show space VLAN space brief. Now here if you see the 10 is nothing but your cells, this is nothing but your VLAN, and which interface, FA0/1, exactly FA0/1 we are having the sales account sales department, and which is a identification number is 10, and as well as for 20 account department is for your fast Ethernet 0/2, that means this one fast Ethernet 0/2, and this is your nothing but your account. Now the same procedure you need to do on switch number 2. So here I already do for my done for my VLAN 20. Now here again I will do for my VLAN 10, right? So VLAN 10, here VLAN 10 and name is cells exit. Okay, now here again we need to configure my interface part. So here also interface, so this portion we need to configure now the FA0/1. So F interface space FA0/1, then again switch port mode access, and the switch port access VLAN 10. This is for my VLAN 10 part, which is nothing but my sales department, sorry. And now we need to configure here for FA0/2, that is nothing but my account. So again go to here interface, then interface which one 0/2, then switch port mode access, then switch port access VLAN 20, then exit from this particular configuration tab, and here also you need to type here, that is VLAN brief, to see the whether you're successfully show VLAN brief, right? So here also there is an cells 10 for FA0/1 and 20 identification number, department is account, and the Ethernet port is FA0/2, right? So now here you need to now close this particular switch tab. Now you need to just send again a packet from PC1 to PC2, right? It will be a failed again. Now for example PC1 to PC2, it will be failed. PC1 to PC4, it will be failed. Why it will be failed? Because we are just configuring the switch for our VLAN configuration, but we are sending the packet from this particular PC to this particular switch, but there is no communication between this particular switch to this particular switch yet, right? That's why ping will not able to establish with any of these pieces, right? So now we need to do a trunking. Okay, why trunking? It will be useful. The VLAN trunking is enables to carry the VLAN traffic from one switch to this another switch using this particular port, called it as a trunk port. Okay, so just label it as a trunk port. This is nothing but my trunk port. Okay, it is nothing but a switch port that will be used for interconnect between the two switches, right? It will be transfer the virtual LAN traffic from one switch to another switch, right? And for configuration of this particular trunking port, we need to do again, go to your switch 1, right? You type here again go to your configuration of this particular switch, that is config space T, right? And here again just type here the interface. Which interface it is? It is nothing but my FA0/3 interface, right? So just type here interface 0/3 you need to configure, right? So interface 0/3 FA0/3, enter, and after that here you need to change the mode of your switch port, that is switch port mode. Which mode is this? This is nothing but trunk mode. Why? Because you need to send up VLAN traffic from one switch port to another switch, right? So switch mode trunk. So here the change is state to up, you will see, right? It will be restart fast Ethernet 0/3 change state to down, and again it will be changed state to up. That means it is enabling your switch again, right? And after it the same thing you need to do on switch 2 as well, right? So just go to config space T, configuration terminal of this particular switch. Here here it is also interface FA0/3. If you see here, it's also a FA0/3, right? For this to this we need to now send the traffic packets, right? What's the command? Interface FA0/3. Now here again we need to change the port, switch port mode trunk here. Okay, now we will check whether the packet is now transferred from, we just first clear this thing. Okay, now we will send a packet from cells to cells. It is successful. Why? Because the department is cells, identification VLAN identification number is 10. Here is also 10. We just put it here. VLAN is 10. Here is VLAN is 20. Here is also VLAN is 10. Here is also VLAN is 20, right? So now you are able to, source is your PC0, this one, and destination is your PC2. The ICMP packet is transferred. Now I just send from VLAN 10 to VLAN 20, that means inter-department, right? But it is going to fail. Why? Because here's the VLAN 10 is our configuration, and here another VLAN, that is VLAN 20, we have configured. So inter-department it won't be work, right? So again I will just send from, for example, VLAN 20 to VLAN 10. It won't be work. Yes, it won't be work. And from the VLAN 20 to VLAN 20 it must be work. It is successful, right? So you know now how to configure switches for our virtual LAN, that is VLAN. Thank you.